The Fellowship of Guelphissauga continues, with preparations for a climate change Christmas. Across the Shire, people made plans for Christmas, climate change, or both. Thanks to the finalized 8.52% tax increase by the Corporation of the Shire, the housing cost crisis worsened as it took the shirts off people's backs. They were left standing in the cold as the mayor and his Dubious Business Associates ignored the growing homeless encampments downtown. But the mayor didn't want to deal with all the hate, so he took flight to Dubai for finding Middle Eastern inspiration at a Climate Change Vacay-Conference. Can Carly of Klassen and the Elder Elves do anything about the housing cost crisis? And will the mayor have a good climate change Christmas? In the Council of Elders chambers, the final nail in the coffin was put into next year's residential tax increase. Finalized at 8.52%, the council voted to worsen the housing cost crisis next year. 2.69 percentage points came from the Big Blue Orc's broken promise, which the council had no control over as creatures of the province. But they did manage to cut down the parts they could control to 3.96 percentage points. With all these numbers getting thrown around, the mayor got confused and oversold the results on Twitter. "It's basically bang on the rate of inflation right now," the mayor exclaimed, as if it was some kind of achievement. He saw the 3.96% part and noticed it was similar to current inflation around 3%, so he oversold the result as a win. This mistake riled up the trolls on Twitter, as they have the calculator app on hand and can do the math. They called out the mayor for his misinterpretation of the numbers, and he had to post an apology on Twitter to clarify his mistake. Even with this apology, trolls will be trolls, and they continued hammering the mayor over the other numbers he missed too. They pointed out the future planned tax increases with 9.97% in 2025, 8.03% in 2026, and 7.33% in 2027. The number the mayor should have celebrated was the small cut made to the total tax increase that was originally proposed at 10.3%. And the elder doing the celebrated should have been Dan of Gibson instead of the mayor. He led the motion to cut hires of sunshine listers throughout the 4-year plan, taking $2.4 million out of the budget for 2024. Gibson also stepped up to cut $257,000 from the budget for the new library downtown. Rodrigo of Gawler tried to help out too by proposing to increase the affordable housing contribution to $1.5 million, but that idea was defeated in a 10-3 vote since it didn't help. "This has been really tough," said the mayor as he waved his strong mayor powers to implement a tax cut instead of a tax increase in the final vote. The council approved the inflationary 8.52% tax increase and set the start date on December 25th for a nice Christmas gift for everyone in the Shire. Meanwhile, in the heart of the housing cost crisis downtown, 2 mysteries appeared beside the fountain encampment. A collection of wooden huts that looked like tiny houses was placed in front of the tents, and there was also a naked man standing on the corner, shivering in the rain. The concerned and curious people in the Shire immediately questioned what he was doing. No one should end up shirtless from the 8.52% tax increase, with Sir Edward of Bench clothing the homeless a few blocks away. He must have been doing it on purpose. Speculative gossip spread across the Shire over who this man was and why he was standing naked and not keeping warm in the wooden huts behind him. Luckily, like most things caught in Guelph, Ty of the Max showed up to clarify the details and minimize the speculation. It was Gregels of Dorval, and he was standing naked in the cold to bring awareness to the housing cost crisis and support the Royal City mission. Ty of the Max helped solve the first mystery, but the second mystery of the wooden huts remained. The curious people in the Shire turned their investigation towards the mystery of the wooden huts. They emailed the mayor and Lloyd of the Longfields to see if they knew what they were. They didn't hear back from the mayor, but Lloyd of the Longfields did reply. He didn't know exactly what the huts were for, so he guessed they were a result of the $2 million of federal funding recently given to 38 local organizations. Several churches and charities received thousands of dollars in funding, and maybe one of them purchased tiny homes for the homeless, Lloyd Fields speculated. But the mystery of the wooden huts ended up solving itself over the weekend. The minimum wage earners living in the tents downtown watched as Christmas vendors filled the wooden huts with trinkets and glittering lights. Festive music started playing while crowds of seniors and families filled the streets to watch the Santa Claus parade and hear the mayor's holiday speech. However, the mayor was a no-show, and Dan of the Gibson had to step up to deliver the traditional speech. It was an ironic situation downtown, with all the holiday cheer happening right next to the homeless encampment. The view is almost too ironic that it is some kind of sick joke, Bill of Barrett wrote in a public letter. I can say the sick juxtaposition of huts for commerce versus huts for people reveals a fresh canker in the face of our humanity, he pointed out to the mayor. However, the mayor didn't reply, again, and Bill wondered why. Where was the mayor? He should have been there to give the speech. He loves garage sales too, so it's weird that he wasn't at the holiday market to hunt for good deals. The mayor was receiving the earlier emails people sent him, but he ghosted everyone in the Shire after getting one particular email. It wasn't all the hate emails he got over the 8.52% tax increase or the questions about the wooden huts downtown. It was one lonely email from the Corporation of the Shire's legal department. This email linked to a news article about the finalization of the National Citizens Inquiry, which caught the mayor's attention. The National Citizens Inquiry is a citizen-led and citizen-funded effort to examine Canada's response to COVID-19. Containing the testimony of over 300 witnesses, some of who are now deceased, the report's recommendations freaked out the mayor. Ken of Drysdale, the chairman of the inquiry, outlined the findings and included recommendations for institutions to face criminal and civil penalties for their actions. Canada's federal, provincial, and municipal government responses to COVID-19 are unprecedented, he declared in a press conference. After reading the recommendation in the final report, the mayor called a dog Uber to get out of town. The RCMP was already investigating both the Big Blue Orc and the Lord of the Liberals, and the mayor didn't want any trouble coming his way. Luckily, he knew exactly where to go to keep away from the heat. The mayor booked a flight to Dubai to attend a Climate Change Vacay-Conference. He figured he could stay away from the heat of the Citizens Inquiry on the other side of the world in the heat of the desert. The conference was attended by all of the mayor's best globalist friends from 62 countries, including the Lord of the Liberals. He took selfies and drank Kool-Aid with his friends that he hadn't seen since the WEF's Smart City Summit in Colorado this summer. The mayor did his best to stay awake during the boring meetings until lobster was served for lunch. After lunch, he gave a rambling presentation about the Corporation of the Shire's enabling of multi-level climate action. The mayor claimed the trip around the world was worth it for all the inspirational ideas he collected. He got some European inspiration by meeting the mayor of Vacay, which is the only town in Europe to have free city buses. While taking in the views of the enormous skyscrapers in the center of Dubai, the mayor also got Middle Eastern inspired by 160-story buildings with no parking minimums. Can Carly of Klassen and the Elder Elves do anything about the housing cost crisis? And will the mayor have a good climate change Christmas? Stay tuned here to see.